Well, they're consistently good and consistently bad. They lose their first four and win the next three. So, however it breaks down, they're 3-4, and they're actually in the wild card race, which they're not one of the three best teams, but at least they're in a wild card race. And it's been a long time since we saw the Oilers anywhere near that, and they are certainly better than the Calgary Flames down the road. And if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, that's joy in Mudville. They're 1-5, and the Oilers are 3-4. So.
Pretty sweet. Yeah.
Pretty sweet. But there's still work ahead. I mean, the Oilers aren't going to make the playoffs by winning 40 and losing 40. They're not making the playoffs with 80 points. They got to get 95. So they got to keep winning, and that's been their problem. John and I have talked many times. Their problem is they have trouble winning more than 2 in a row or 3 in a row. They can't win 5 or 6 in a row to get their head above water, and when you start with 4 straight losses, you have to win 4 just to get back to level 500, and then they can go from there. So they're catching a break. Washington's coming in after playing the night before in Vancouver, so they're catching a scheduling break against the Capitals.
Well, I don't think a whole lot has changed. They had one bad game, really bad game in Dallas, and in fact the score was kept relatively reasonable that night by the goalie. To me, better to look at what is the common link among those games, which I think is number one is goaltending. The goaltending they're getting is very good, and gives them a chance to win. They played their first 5 of the first 6 games on the road against teams that traditionally defeat them, big, heavy teams, and their record was what you would have predicted. So I don't think but their play was better. Actually, the actual content of the game for them was better than what we have seen. I think this is a better team. They have better personnel. They have clearly a better approach to the defensive side of things. But as Jim said, there's no question this is a learning process, and we're only early in the school year.
But for now, it's tough to knock a guy, 18-year-old who's leading the team in points. He's got 4 more points than Jack Eichel, and everybody was very upset in the early going because Eichel started very well with a couple of goals, but now Connor's got 6 points and Eichel's got 2. So that matchup is certainly in McDavid's favor.
McDavid is finding his range, in my opinion, quite rapidly. You see something from him almost every night. Last night you saw quite a bit. He's big and strong. He's not physically mature yet for his size, but a lot of times junior players come in the league and they have to kind of dial down what they might be capable of until they're actually not putting themselves at physical risk. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was that way. I mean, he got, of course, injured, and so did Taylor Hall. More pronounced Sam Gagner when he was in the league as an 18-year-old kid. He was nowhere near physical maturity, and he couldn't go in the corners and muck around for the puck. McDavid, I think, can do all of that stuff. It's just a question of how proficient he'll be all the time. It is a grind, the NHL season, but I mean, his transition, I think, will be as smooth as any young player transition ever has been. He's just so gifted.